Welcome back. Today, we're talking about the dopamine hypothesis as a biological explanation for schizophrenia. So, let's break it down step by step, including both the initial and revised versions of the hypothesis, along with key research that supports it. The original dopamine hypothesis was proposed in the 1960s and suggests that schizophrenia is caused by overactivity of dopamine in certain areas of the brain. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter involved in controlling mood, motivation, and pleasure. But in schizophrenia, too much dopamine activity can lead to positive symptoms like hallucinations and delusions. The idea for this hypothesis comes from the fact that antipsychotic drugs, which block dopamine receptors, help to reduce these positive symptoms. Additionally, drugs that increase dopamine activity, such as amphetamines, can cause symptoms similar to schizophrenia in people without the disorder. Now, let's look at some key research that supports this initial version of the dopamine hypothesis. Falcai et al. 1988 conducted post-mortem studies on the brains of individuals with schizophrenia and found an increased number of dopamine receptors in certain areas of the brain. This suggests that these individuals were more sensitive to dopamine, supporting the idea that dopamine overactivity plays a role in schizophrenia. Similarly, Lindstrom et al. 1999 conducted PT scans on individuals with schizophrenia and found that they took up L-DOPA, a chemical that increases dopamine, more quickly than people without schizophrenia. This indicates that their brains were producing more dopamine, further supporting the hypothesis. However, the initial hypothesis was too simplistic. In the 1990s, the revised dopamine hypothesis was developed. This version suggests that schizophrenia is not just about too much dopamine, it's actually more complex, involving dopamine dysregulation in different areas of the brain. Specifically, the revised hypothesis highlights two key dopamine pathways in the brain. The mesolimbic pathway is associated with reward, motivation, and emotion. It connects a part of the brain called the ventral tegmental area, located in the midbrain, to areas like the nucleus accumbens, which is involved in feelings of pleasure and reward. In schizophrenia, overactivity in this pathway leads to an excess of dopamine, which contributes to the positive symptoms of schizophrenia, such as hallucinations and delusions. The mesocortical pathway also starts in the ventral tegmental area and connects to the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for higher-level thinking, decision-making, and emotional regulation. In schizophrenia, this pathway is underactive, leading to a dopamine deficit. This dopamine imbalance in the mesocortical pathway is thought to contribute to the negative symptoms of schizophrenia, such as avolition, flat affect, and alogia. In summary, the dopamine hypothesis is one of the key biological explanations for schizophrenia. The initial hypothesis suggested that too much dopamine causes the disorder, while the revised version acknowledges that dopamine dysregulation, both too much and too little in different brain regions, contributes to different symptoms. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more psychology content.